One thing I did want to talk about tonight before we do our meditation is presence in such a way that a lot of times in our society we don't trust it. We don't feel comfortable with this idea of presence. And the thought came to me the other day. I think I was driving here actually, and the thought occurred to me that is everybody familiar with channeling? You know, the concept of channeling. You know, where what is the definition of channeling? Can you, Terry?
Well, I guess channeling other entities. There's different things considered channeling.
Yeah, other
entities
is what I'm talking about.
The ability, your radio dial gets turned in a certain way that it opens up a portal that allows for a vibrational match of another being, whether that's an alien or whether that's a higher dimensional being that then becomes able to communicate with you either through words or through writing or other means.
Okay, so that's channeling, and it seems what I was referring to, what came to mind when I was driving, and it came to mind that when people channel, it's like the person has to get out of the way. You know, the person that is, like if a person's trying to channel, for example, they would probably have difficulty channeling. The only thing a person can do is try to get out of the way so that the channel can come through, so that they can be the conduit, yeah, of the channel. And I think there's a lot of and channeling is a good example of, I think, what it takes for a person to have insight, for a person to have, you know, those aha moments, for a person to have moments of clarity, moments of we could say discovery, even and earlier today, what kind of triggered this earlier today, I was doing some work and listening to some stuff on YouTube actually, and this guy was talking about how science, all these great discoveries in science, didn't come up from these people intellectually trying to figure these things out, and in fact they came out by mistakes, where somebody accidentally spilled one beaker into another beaker, and these things got mixed, and then they found a cure for cancer, or, you know, whatever, you know, these kinds of things. So it's like when we call something science, it's not like these expansive minds, these brilliant people came up with these things. It's mostly always by some mistake, you know, something that came together, and they go, oh, we just happened to discover, and then later on, man finds a way to make it sound like, yeah, we were working in the lab, and we thought, well, what would happen if we mixed this with this, and then all of a sudden we came up with this fantastic discovery. But it was likely some accident, you know, that these things happened. Even I can't remember, there's a quote by Einstein that kind of alluded to that as well, where these great discoveries, they come up by accident, you know, by chance. And we have all experienced that when we're very relaxed, like we're, you know, taking a shower or something like that, something where we get out of the way. You know, we're doing something habitual. We might be doing an activity, moving the arms around. Let's say we're in the shower or doing something in the bathroom, and it's very natural. We're not thinking in terms of it, and we just let the mind go. And we get these I hope it happens for all of us. We get these aha moments, or we get these moments of clarity, and these oftentimes these just really peaceful, joyful moments, come up. Not when we're trying to do it, or not when we're purposely doing something, but when we're not getting in the way of allowing that to happen. And I think a lot of times people, we just try too hard. And when it comes to meditation, we all know that the heart of meditation is that letting go. And a lot of times, I had a big long conversation with somebody today that this person was practicing to become a priest, a Buddhist priest. And they connect with me from time to time, and we chat. And one of the main things that we chatted about today was that this person is supposed to do a lot of volunteer work. So she found an outfit where these people are in hopeless need and dire need to talk to somebody and to get these things off of their chest, because they actually dial this number and say, I need some help. Can you talk to me? And you kind of talk them off the ledge, so to speak. And this person said that they gave me some examples of the things that they run into, and a lot of it is anger, anger issues and that type of thing. And we both agreed that all of these people that call, they don't, they think that there's a magic pill, something that can be a magic word that can be spoke to them, but that person that is receiving that call is primarily just a listener. They're listening to all of this. And we agreed that these people, all of them have something to let go of, not something to gather up, but something to renounce and let go. And it's like it's like the example is like they have to get out of the way for this thing to happen. And so it's all in the renunciation. It's all in the getting out of the way. It's all in the letting go of what is, in many cases, holding us back, and not allowing us to have that certain amount of freedom, that is a part of us, that is all something that we can all claim as ours. And I think we can use that as meditators. We can use that as an example, as far as reminding ourselves that meditation is we're not really trying to get anywhere. We're not setting a goal and gritting our teeth and buckling down to actually achieve anything. Anything that we might achieve would more likely be done by us getting out of the way and letting it happen. And it would certainly make meditation much more comfortable and much more relaxing for us, by doing that. And so I thought the meditation that we'll do here would kind of, the invitation is to kind of think along those lines, and with the premise that if our meditation, and we all experience this, if our meditation isn't going so well, it's usually because we're putting a purpose behind it. And this is kind of awkward, because meditation, every time we sit to meditate, there is a purpose, but that purpose is to really cleanse the mind from the point of us not trying to accomplish anything beyond the aspect of paying attention and being aware of what we have to let go of. And that's probably the main thing in most situations that we have to do, is be aware of what kind of attachment where it might be hanging on to that might not be providing us with the kind of meditation that we might be able to have. So I'll guide us through the first 10-15 minutes of this meditation along those, along those lines, and see if that helps. So please make yourself comfortable. With the eyes closed, bring your attention to the body. And take a moment to thank yourself for meditating this evening. There's a lot of things that we could be doing rather than meditating, but I really feel that this is the most constructive and creative thing that we can do at this time. And as we talked about last week, we are practicing Vipassana meditation. Another name for Vipassana is insight meditation, or clear seeing. The direct translation of Vipassana is clear seeing. And what that means is that if we can just lightly focus on something like the breath, and I mentioned a couple of times already this evening, if we can get out of the way. In other words, not complicate and muck up the mind with any intentions of thinking about the past or future. Planning and, in other words, escaping in many ways from the present moment and from being present. Then we have a much better chance of this insight that the Buddha spoke of. Insight is like a discovery, but it's not like a scientific discovery. It's not like the discovery that we might have when we're actively finding or seeking for something, and we find it. It's more of a relaxing into the moment and waiting for something to come and greet us. It's as if we're sitting in our living room at home and we just have a feeling that we're waiting for something to come. Maybe we're waiting for a relative or a friend to come and pick us up. They didn't say exactly when they're going to come, but they said, make sure you're ready when we arrive. And so we're waiting, and looking out the window, but they don't come. We're pacing back and forth, checking the time for no apparent reason because they didn't say exactly when they were going to come. We're just full of anticipation and waiting for their arrival so that we can be ready and meet them and greet them and get in their car and leave with them to wherever you're going. The other side of this scenario is that we realize that we have a free moment and that we're just going to relax and meditate, close our eyes, and just listen for that car to pull up into the driveway. Nothing more. Nothing else is needed. We're not even going to look out the window. We're not going to check the clock. We're not going to pace back and forth. We're just going to actually allow the body and the mind to get out of the way and just wait. When we're practicing insight, it's the same thing, the same way. And so we're waiting, not anxiously. It's as if we're waiting for something that even if it doesn't arrive, it's not a problem. It's not like we're promised to have insight, which is really a type of experiential understanding of a thing or a topic or something that has been going on in life, or part of our practice, or understanding of the Dharma or the teachings. But if that doesn't happen in our meditation, there's still a lesson behind it, as long as we make an attempt to do it correctly, which means to notice when the mind is getting in the way of this presence. In other words, when the mind leaps into the past and the future, tries to focus on something other than our meditation object, which again might be the breath. And most likely is the breath. So when we're meditating, there could be activity in the mind, but we should have enough ability in our practice, enough confidence in our practice to let everything in the mind fall into the background. And so this time that we set aside for meditation is kind of a time that we tailor to going quiet. And the funny in the business world, I think they're calling that going metta. Which is kind of going undecided, being very open, and again getting out of the way. And it's precisely for that reason that we often have a great deal of silence in these meditations on Wednesday nights, and I always encourage people to sit in silence, during their home practice. A certain amount of guided meditation is fine, and it's very good for people with very busy minds. But for the most part, the deeper aspect of the meditation is in the